Hey guys, Danny Johnson here, and today we're going to be changing a tire on the side of the road for the Ford Explorer. Now please check the operator manual and research this on your own in case I missed something. I'm just showing you the general procedure here. So first of all, you want to make sure you're on flat, level ground where the car cannot roll. Do your best to get off the side of the road as well. You want to be safe as you're doing this, and you don't want cars passing you, so flat and level ground. Turn on your hazard lights, make sure that you're well seen. Now, you want to chock the wheels as well. So if you were replacing the back tire, then you would walk around to the opposite side front tire and you would chock the wheel. Put something in front of it and even in back of it, just so that when you lift up, the car does not roll. Rolling off the jack is probably the biggest thing that can happen wrong here, so we want to make sure that doesn't happen. If you were replacing the front driver's side, as an example, you'd come around to the passenger side rear and then you would chock those wheels. So you're doing the opposite wheel. Just make sure that the car won't roll. You want to make sure that the car is in park and that the parking brake is set. Usually the parking brake is for the rear tires. Now we're going to go ahead and open up the rear hatch here. And it does help to put the seats down. If you don't have the ability to do that, I think you could still get by, but we're going to put the seats down, and under this cover, we're going to find another cover. So you're going to pull this flap up, and this is Velcroed in, so just pull straight back towards you, and that whole panel will come out, and then you can set it up and out of the way. So here's our spare tire. You're going to turn this wing nut off, and it was kind of hard to get started. It goes to the left counterclockwise, and then under the tire is going to be our jack. So once that wing nut's out of the way, you can lift the tire out. Here's our jack, and it also has our tire iron on it. So with the tire out of the way, there's another wing nut here. So you're going counterclockwise, lefty-loosey. And you're going to go ahead and spin this. Now, on this one, the whole stud eventually came out. So go ahead and set that out of the way, and now you have access to this. Now, if you look at this jack, it actually has the tire iron right here, and the pressure of the jack is what's holding that together. So you're going to turn this counterclockwise, and that's going to loosen the jack, make it smaller, and then the tire iron portion will come off. If you look on this, it also has the, it kind of folds out. So, sorry, I'm doing this one-handed, but you can fold one end out so you have more leverage on it. And then if you look at the other end, it has where the lug nuts and where the jack is going to be operated. So you just pull this one out too. So go ahead and pull that out, and that's what we're going to use as our tire iron. So we're going to imagine that this is the tire that's flat. I like to break these lug nuts loose. You're not taking them all the way off, but while the weight of the vehicle is on the ground, just pull counterclockwise, right? And just a quarter of a turn, just enough to break it loose so you're not doing that while it's up on the jack stand, because you don't want the car to fall on the jack. Keep in mind, moving one wheel can make the opposite wheel turn too. So we're going to go ahead and show you where you put the jack now. So if you look at the jack, under the car there's a little cutout, and if you look at the jack, there's a little notch, and so you want the little piece of the frame of the car there, it's called the pinch weld, to fall directly into that support on the jack. So on the back of the car, it's the same thing. There's a little cutout that's missing, and you can see where the pinch weld goes through, and you would put the jack right in that channel, and that's where you want to lift. Okay, but be careful that once the car's up in the air, it could fall off the jack. Now we're going to turn this clockwise, and that's going to lift the jack, and you'll get to the point where it's too hard to do it that way, so you're going to do this motion with it. That'll give you enough leverage to slowly lift it. Now we only want to lift it till the tire is about an inch off the ground, but if it's a flat tire, you might have to go a little bit more for the full tire to fit. Okay, so now we'll continue to break all the lug nuts loose, lefty-loosey. Make sure that you take all of them off and remove the wheel. And I'll show you a clip here. It's on a different car, but it's the same process here. Fully here, it doesn't have to be too high. We're going to go ahead and remove our wheel. So now we'll use our tire iron to get these the rest of the way loose, and they should come off pretty easy at this point. And if you can get them off by hand, go ahead and do that. As you take them up off, one of them might get caught up again because the wheel will start to fall forward and backward a little bit and put some pressure on one of those lug nuts. So sometimes it helps to push against the wheel like this and then release that last lug nut. With all the lug nuts off, we can now pull the wheel away and roll it out, and then we can bring in our spare tire. Now at this point you'll want to line those lug nut holes up the best that you can, so the holes in the wheel need to line up to the studs, and again you want to try your best to not be under the vehicle at any point in case it were to fall down. So you can rotate this and wiggle it around and line up these lug nut holes and then just push it into place. So once you have the wheel onto the lug nuts, I like to put one foot against the bottom of the wheel to hold it in place, and then just put some of these lug nuts on. With all of the lug nuts on, now you'll take your tire iron and tighten these down in a star pattern. So that's every lug nut across from the other one. Now with this, the wheel is on the vehicle, so if it were to fall, it should probably be a little bit more safe, but we can get these pretty much snug. Then what we can do is lower the tire down till it's touching the ground and then really tighten these down. Now there's different torque specs for these in the operator manual, so you'll want to follow those, but you probably won't have a torque wrench, so you want to get them on pretty much as tight as you can with that tire iron. Next we're going to go back into our tire jack here, and we're going to put this back on and slowly lower the vehicle down until at least the wheel is starting to touch the ground. Now that the wheel is just touching the ground and it won't move as bad, we're going to go ahead and tighten these down a little bit more, and we're still doing that star pattern, every lug nut across from itself. And of course I'm doing this with the factor wheel back in place, so I don't have to keep going back and forth, but you'd still have the spare tire on at this point. And then you do want to have this torqued as soon as you can get to any kind of a tire shop. So as soon as you can get to any tire shop or service station that can help you, make sure you get these properly torqued down, whether it's on the spare tire or your replacement one. And the torque specs are different for aluminum wheels compared to the steel wheel, so keep that in mind and check the operator manual. So make sure that once the weight of the vehicle is touching the ground slightly, now we're going to go through and retighten these. We're going clockwise. So you want to do what's called the star pattern, and that's every opposite lug nut. Then go all the way around just to make sure they're all tight, and then retorque them as soon as you can get to a shop. Now we're going to put our jack back together so it hooks on the bottom, and then you're going to crank the jack until the top little post falls back into its little place there. So here's a better view of what that looks like again. So that little notch is going into the top there, and we're hooked up on the bottom with just enough pressure on the jack to keep it all in place. Now we're going to put our jack back down in here. We're going to put the bolt through the hole and tighten it back down. Doesn't have to be super tight, just enough that it doesn't rattle around. Then you're going to lift your tire and put it back in and put the wing nut back on. So that's how easy it is to change the spare tire. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Please check the video description for the owner's manual that has the proper steps for everything in here. Please make sure you research this and do your due diligence on it. I'm just showing you the general process of how it works. If you're new to the channel, please feel free to subscribe and check the video description for more information. Thanks, guys.